Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for James. Thank you so much for that. For those interested, request in any type of videos, reviews, re-reviews, thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, a full playthrough, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate it. And this is for The Hound of the Baskervilles from 1939, which is a film about Sherlock Holmes. And for what I gathered, it was the first Sherlock Holmes film to take place in the Victorian era. Because I guess some try to do it a little bit more like a modern setting. And stars Basil Rathbone, which is considered one of the better portrayals of Sherlock Holmes. Now, Sherlock Holmes is a character, of course, I know about. I've seen some people play the character throughout the... I think Michael Caine played him a few times. I swear there was one where he played him. He was going against Jack the Ripper, or maybe I'm thinking of someone else. Probably, for me, the one I think of the most is Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock Holmes, which I do like that one. The first film. The second one's alright. It's there, but I do prefer the first one. But I thought Basil Rathbone did a really good job. I thought he was the best part of the film. And the film itself, I mean, you gotta realize it came out in 1939. So the way movies were done at that time is very different than a movie nowadays. So it's a movie that's definitely more talky, less about action and spectacle. And it's one of those things that, it was interesting to watch. It is interesting for me to watch films of that era just to see how the techniques were different, the way people spoke, how much more articulate they are. Just it's a whole different world from where we are today. So it's a very interesting time window to sift through when you watch an older film like this. And also, I guess the people who made this, they didn't think Sherlock Holmes, the character, whatever, would really sell. So I'm not sure, is it Basil or Basil? I've heard it pronounced both. I've heard someone say Basil Rathbone. I've heard people say Basil Rathbone. So I'll just say Rathbone for sake of argument. Because I've heard it both ways, his first name. But he's not first billed, which is weird. And like nowadays, it's like, yeah, of course he'd be first billed because he's easily the star. He's the thing people remember. It's about Sherlock Holmes, but he's not first billed. So I do find that to be a strange thing. You also have Nigel Bruce as Watson. It takes place in 1889 in England. And before I go on, the plot of the film. So this guy named Sir Charles is running through this fog, kind of similar look, feel that you have like a 30s Universal Monster movie. So I like that kind of atmosphere. And he hears these hounds, or a hound in particular, howling. And eventually he drops dead. Now, people look at the body. Some say it's heart failure. Others say it's murder. But either way, now this guy, Sir Henry, is the last remaining heir to this estate. He's going to get all the money. He's going to get all the stuff from it. So this Dr. Mortimer is wanting to hire Sherlock Holmes to figure out if Sir Henry is safe, what happened to this other guy, Sir Charles. So Sherlock and Watson, they take the case, and you see a little bit of Sherlock Holmes' deduction skills, which I liked. I liked the bit where the one guy has a cane, and then Sherlock gives it to Watson, and tell me what you think about this cane. And Watson tells a few things, but Sherlock, yep, you got that, but he tells all the things that he missed. The dog bites, where this cane was made, all this other stuff. So it's nice to see a bit of that deduction skills of Sherlock, what he was known for. he even stops a potential drive-by. That's the way I put it, because it's a horse and carriage, but it's a, hey, someone's in there ready to drive by and shoot, so he stops a drive-by. And eventually, he disappears for a bit, Sherlock. There's a reason for it, but he disappears. So there's more Watson, this guy Sir Henry, this Dr. Mortimer. They go to Sir Henry's estate. And for me, this is where the movie kind of peters out for a bit, for me at least. Thankfully, the movie's only like an hour and 19 minutes. It's not a long film, thankfully. It's fairly short. And I don't know if it's free on there now, but it was free on YouTube when I saw this. But the reason with this middle portion, it's just, oh, they meet this neighbor called Stapleton. Sir Henry sees this girl and they kind of fall for each other, or he falls for her, and I didn't really give a shit about any of that. I didn't give a rat's ass about it. There's this seance that happens, which honestly the seance was completely pointless. It didn't serve anything. It didn't change anything. It didn't result of any clues being at least for what I remember, to be fair. And I was really missing Sherlock Holmes, because I thought Rathbone did a really good job displaying the articulate nature and the knowledge and deduction skills he had without it seeming pretentious or full of himself or cocky. And like I said, I think he gave a good performance on that. So when he was missed, I think the movie was just missing a bit of that zest. And it's just kind of spinning its wheels with, I don't give a shit about Sir Henry wanting to get some poontang pie. I don't care about this seance that didn't mean jack shit at the end of the day. There's talks about this curse that the family had of this demonic dog, this demonic hound, and that's why they hear this howling. And was it the hound that killed the guy at the beginning? Was it that? So there's a good portion in the middle that I was really kind of going like this. Okay. Alright. And then it picked up a little bit when the Rathbone got back in. Because, spoiler, you find out that this guy who's like a peddler looking homeless motherfucker is actually Sherlock Holmes in a disguise. Because he wanted to see what they were doing without them knowing he was there. And then some things kind of, that's when the movie really got the ball going a little bit with this mystery. Which I didn't mind for what it was. It wasn't a fantastic mystery or anything. Really, this felt like something that would be on TV. I mean, again, films were done differently at this time. But it felt like the story, the plot, just it felt like something that would be for TV. But a lot of times that was stuff that would be shown in movie theaters back in the day. So, again, it's just difference of time. Spoilers. What you find out is there's this guy who almost looks like Igor from Frankenstein, or I should say Son of Frankenstein, or even Young Frankenstein. This Igor-looking guy, you find out that he's an escaped convict, and this dog pushes him off the cliff, and that's why some people at the house where they were doing some suspicious activities. But he's not the guy who killed and was doing all this stuff. He was an escaped convict, but he didn't do the stuff that's happening here. What happened was, earlier in the movie, Sir Henry was saying, someone stole my shoe for some reason. I don't know why someone stole my shoe. And then, oh, well, now my shoe is back. I don't understand why my shoe is back. And Sherlock Holmes is confused about this. Well, you come to find out that the killer took the shoe that was like a worn shoe and has this dog, this attacked dog, that would use to get the scent of Sir Henry and use the dog to go and attack and kill, but the escaped convict guy, he at one point stole the clothes and stole the stuff. So the dog was sniffing Sir Henry's stuff, but the safe convict was wearing it, so that's why he got attacked and he got put off the cliff. And so Sherlock Holmes figures this out. Him and Watson fake going on a train to throw people off, and Sally used Sir Henry as bait. Then they go right back, and they save Sir Henry at the nick of time from being tapped by a dog. They shoot the dog. Sherlock Holmes looks around. He gets trapped in this kind of crypt. He escapes. He's got a knife, and he tears the thing open. A guy goes in and explains what's going on. And it was actually the neighbor Stapleton. He says, something I know is about this painting, and he does this, and the one guy's eyes looks the same as him. So Stapleton is actually another heir to this estate. And that guy wanted these people dead, so he would reveal, I'm actually an heir, and I would get all the money, I would get all this shit. And the ending, I thought, kind of petered out because the guy runs off, and then Sherlock kind of goes and whistles, and he's like, oh, I got constables over there. They'll eventually catch him. So you think with movies like you catch the bad guy, you punch the bad guy, you fight the bad guy, you kill the bad guy, you see the bad guy arrested, you assume he'll be arrested, but just assume it doesn't have as much of an impact of an ending I thought that it could have. I like the idea of the dog, hence the Hound of the Baskervilles, that it was a legend of a demonic dog, and it was actually just some dog that was trained to hunt, trained to kill. I do like that idea. I thought the guy, Rathbone and Nigel Bruce, they made a good Sherlock and Watson. They work well together. The way Watson sometimes gets flustered with Sherlock. You definitely showcase Sherlock's intellect, and as I repeated, his deduction skills. Sometimes when they're outside the foggy, almost a cemetery, but might as well be a cemetery. It does have that kind of Universal monster movie type of feel look in those certain spots of the film. It's just, it's not an eventful movie. Especially when you look at, which again, it's not fair to compare with films today. Completely different animal, completely different thing. But I mean, there aren't really like big set pieces. I said the middle portion kind of peters because Sherlock's not there, and you have this other stuff going on, like him with the girl, Sir Henry with the girl. We didn't need any of that. It didn't really amount to much of anything. I mean, they're ready to get married, but it's like, what do you fucking do? Like, didn't give a shit. Because it seemed like at times with movies back then, it's like, well, we need either a musical number with some comedies. There's certain comedies you watch, you go, why is there a musical number here? Because there's a lot of comedies back in the day that would force, well, we gotta have musicals. Like, people gotta have comedy and they gotta have dance. Like, we have to have certain things. I think in this, it's like, well, we gotta have a love story. We gotta have a guy and a girl, they fall in love. We gotta have it in there. Especially back then, it's like, we gotta force that in there. And it's like, not every movie needs a love story. This is one where I don't think it was needed. Because it just, the characters were just kind of there, very flimsy. But again, it depends how you feel about this type of filmmaking, this type of era. Like I said, I'm always intrigued by this era, which is being in black and white. There is a colorized version. I tried to watch that, but it's one of those colorized where it's just they put a bunch of colors to make it appear it's colored, but it's just kind of, it honestly made my eyes get fuzzier as I watched it. So I said, fuck this, and I just watched the black and white one. So I would say that's the preferred way to watch it. And it depends how, like, if you're into Sherlock Holmes, if you're into mysteries. Right, I just gave it away, but I said spoilers. If you're into Rathbone, which I thought he did a good job, I thought he was. I could see why people kind of put him up there as one of the better Sherlocks. Like I said, it's a pretty simple story for the most part. At the beginning, it takes place in one location. I didn't feel there was a whole lot of red herrings. There's a couple. I would say there's the convict that seemed a bit obvious, like too obvious, of a red herring. There's a Nabal Stapleton, maybe the Dr. Mortimer. I just maybe assume the girl. So maybe some, but I don't know. It wasn't enough that made me go, maybe it's this person, maybe it's this person. At least not to me. That's right. At the end of the day, though, like it was short. The beginning got my interest to see what's going on with this dog or what. The story, I like the idea of this demonic dog curse. The ending, like I said, I like the little foggy atmosphere they put into it. The very end, I wish there was. I mean, Sherlock's not an action guy. Unless you would talk about Robert Downey Jr. where he's punching. But like something a little bit more. Something a little bit more where maybe they chase the guy, but the guy inadvertently meets his own end. I would think maybe you wound the dog, but then like before they could kill it, they gotta run off. But then the guy runs off, the bad guy, and then the dog kills him. So it's like his own creation kills him, his own creation ends him. Maybe something like that I think would have been a bit more interesting. But as is, it was okay for what it needed to be. It was okay for its intended purposes. And I'm glad to watch it one time. Because I've heard of this movie. I've heard of this stuff. So I'm sure there's other interpretations of this story. But it has that black and white old school sentiment that gives kind of easily will give us some type of atmosphere at least because of that. So overall, it was okay. I thought it was okay. Not something I would watch again, but I think if the middle was pepped up a bit and among other stuff, I probably would liked it even more. But as is, same with the ending. But as is, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye for now.